Wait, did you know that the sword you see in movies today took over 2.5 million years to create? Yeah, you heard that right. From a simple rock to a legendary weapon, it's an incredible journey. And the wildest part? Early humans didn't invent the sword to look cool. They invented it because they had to survive. Let's start with something crazy. Imagine you're living 2.5 million years ago. No phones, no houses, no safety. Every single day, you're fighting for your life. You're competing with massive predators, and your only tools are your bare hands. Then one day, a genius, probably just a curious kid, realizes something. If I pick up this rock and hit it against that rock, I get a sharp edge. That single moment, that changed everything. That's how the first blade was born. But here's what's mind-blowing. This wasn't a quick invention. It took thousands of years of trial and error. Imagine, generation after generation, one person at a time, learning how to make tools slightly better than the last person. Stone Age humans were basically the world's first engineers, and they didn't even know it. They discovered that flint stone, a dark, glassy rock, was the best material. Why? Because when you strike it just right, it shatters in a way that creates incredibly sharp edges, sharper than any modern knife blade. Our ancestors used these for hunting, for cutting meat, for protecting their families. But here's the problem with stone weapons. They break. You're in the middle of a fight, your tool shatters, and you're done. Ancient humans needed something better, and it took them thousands of years to find it. Now, fast forward 2 million years, someone made a discovery that would revolutionize weaponry forever, and it happened almost by accident. Ancient humans, probably in the Middle East or India, were heating certain rocks to make them easier to work with. Then they noticed something strange. Liquid was dripping out of the rocks. That liquid? That was metal. That was the moment humans discovered metallurgy, and it was about to change the game. Here's where it gets interesting. Bronze Age humans realized they could take this liquid metal and pour it into shapes, any shape they wanted. Imagine the possibilities. No more breaking stones. Now you could create a weapon exactly how you envisioned it. Around 1600 BC, the first true swords appeared. And let me tell you, they were a massive status symbol. Only the richest warriors, only the kings and nobles could afford them. Why? Because making them was incredibly expensive and time-consuming. If you owned a bronze sword, everyone knew you were powerful. But here's the twist. Bronze swords had a huge problem. In the middle of battle, they would bend, or dull, or snap. Imagine being a warrior who spent years of wages on a sword, and it bends during your first real fight? Devastating. Warriors started asking, is there anything better than bronze? And that question led to one of history's greatest breakthroughs. Here's where the story gets really intense. Around 1200 BC, a new material appeared, iron. And here's the crazy part. Almost nobody wanted to use it at first. Why? Because early iron was absolutely terrible. It was brittle, it rusted, and frankly, it was worse than bronze. Imagine being a blacksmith, discovering this new material and thinking, this is the worst thing I've ever worked with. But some stubborn, brilliant blacksmiths refused to give up. For centuries, they kept experimenting, heating it, hammering it, adding different materials. And then, eureka, they figured it out. By adding carbon to iron, they could create something revolutionary, steel. And steel was a game changer. It was harder than iron, stronger than bronze, and could hold an edge so sharp it could cut through armor. Suddenly, warriors who had bronze swords were at a massive disadvantage against warriors with steel swords. Different cultures figured out their own styles. The Romans created the gladius, a short, lethal weapon perfect for their formation fighting. The Japanese developed the katana, a curved blade built for slashing. The Europeans created the longsword, a massive blade that could do everything. Each one was a masterpiece, and each one was the result of generations of trial and error, failure and success. By the Middle Ages, a sword wasn't just a weapon, it was a work of art. But here's the thing, the sword's reign as the ultimate weapon didn't last forever. And this is where the story takes a twist that nobody expected. In the 9th century, someone invented something that would make the sword look like a relic of the past, gunpowder. And with gunpowder came firearms. By the 18th century, the sword that had dominated battlefields for thousands of years was suddenly obsolete. Imagine being a master swordsman in the 1800s. You spent your whole life perfecting your craft, and then boom, a soldier with a gun beats you without even getting close. The sword's glory days were over. But, and this is important, the sword never truly died. Even today, swords live on in our culture, our martial arts, our stories. Kendo, fencing, traditional sword arts, they're all thriving. Why? Because the sword represents something deeper than just a weapon. It represents human innovation, determination, and the endless quest to create something better. So next time you watch a movie with an epic sword fight, remember, you're watching the result of 2.5 million years of human evolution and creativity. Every swing, every clash, every legendary blade is a testament to our ancestors who refused to settle for good enough. They kept innovating, kept improving, kept pushing forward. And that's the real story of how humans invented the sword. It's not just about a weapon, it's about who we are as a species,